Hey, what's up, Star Wars collectors? Now, I won an auction on eBay, and it was my first auction. I've never won an auction on eBay. Now, the auction that I ended up winning was for the 1984 Power of the Force skiff. And I know I said I wanted to find it in person. Let's back up to how this all started. Now, I was just joking around, and I went on eBay and I typed in the skiff, and I ended up seeing this auction going on. And the auction was starting off around like $100 or $200. So I ended up joining the auction, and I didn't think I was going to win because I wasn't really trying to win because I want to find it in person. But I kept looking at it. Days went by and I was like the highest bidder. And then I wasn't the highest bidder at one point. It was like 2 days before the auction ended. And then I ended up winning the auction. So right here is the 1984 Power of the Force skiff. And now one of the railings is kind of messed up, but that's okay. Now at the end of the auction, I ended up paying like $475. Now this comes with the instructions. Now if you were to get this with the box and all the parts and the instructions and it's all completed, it would run you about $1,000 or maybe more, depending on the shape and depending on the condition that it's really in. Honestly, the price can kind of jump around a lot, but overall it's about $1,000 in general just to get that. Now I won this auction at $475. I mean, that's with the shipping and everything included. I mean, I think I won it at $410 or $415. So I did more research on this, and the person that had this on auction was the person that runs Pandora's Box Collectibles. And this is the place here that I found on Google. They're located in New Jersey, so maybe one of these days Ewalkim and I can go out there and check out their store. But I just want to say thank you to you guys and give you guys a shout out. I really do appreciate it. I did not think I was going to win this auction. Now, I didn't find it in person. The excitement kind of wasn't there because I didn't find it in person, but it was because I won the auction. Now, instead of me being like, oh, it's on eBay for like $415 and then, you know, plus shipping, I'll just buy it, and wasn't really, there's no excitement for that. So because I did win the auction for this, it was pretty exciting. I went to go check my phone, I think the day before yesterday, and I won. So I claimed it and paid it, and yeah, it'll be here tomorrow. And maybe one day I'll find an original railing for this thing. I know that's impossible to come by. It's impossible to ever really find just one railing for the skiff, for the original one, that is. And there is reproduction ones out that are for that. And you can also take parts off of the Power of the Force 2 skiff. That is the same model, and they used the same thing when they remade that in the 90s. So it's literally the same thing. And I know that you can swap things and all that. There's some differences with the paint and the weathering on some of the stuff, but I want an original one, so I'm getting what I want. And it's not in the best shape, but the landing gears are there. Usually you can find the skiff without the landing gears. A lot of the times those landing gears are gone, but this one had them. We're also getting ready to go to California, so this is going to help me kind of get other things on this trip that we're going on. So maybe I can find different vintage Star Wars items that I can really be excited to find. And it's always fun to get the little vintage Star Wars stuff too. Like Ewalkim ended up getting these stickers here. So, I mean, that's a little find right there. So that's always cool to just, and you never know what we're going to come across out there in California. We might come across some crazy stuff. And I know prices in the West Coast can be very high. And we're over here on the East Coast, and prices aren't as high as they are on the West Coast, but that's okay. We've been, you know, saving our money, and we're ready for this trip. And we're going to keep going on other trips after this. So there will be more content of us going vintage Star Wars hunting in different states. And we do definitely plan on going to Pennsylvania pretty soon, Dallas, Texas. So yeah, there's going to be different content out. So let's slide over to the next clip. Now I'm really excited because the skiff finally came in the mail, and I got the box off the porch. I have the box here with me, and yes, be fragile with this. Am I correct? Now this right here is definitely a holy grail for Star Wars vintage collector, and I cannot wait to open this up. So we're going to do a time lapse of me opening the box and taking it out of the box, and then I'll cut the time lapse. Here we are. We have the 1984 Power of the Force skiff. And As we all know, this is an iconic Star Wars vehicle here from Return of the Jedi, and Jabba had all of his people working on this thing, and Luke and Han and Princess Leia and all of them managed to escape on one of these. And this vehicle alone is just really cool, and I really love the skiff. I just love the way it looks. And for Return of the Jedi, it's definitely one of my favorite Star Wars vehicles. Now, I did get the railing. I did get both railings, and like I said, one of the railings was like, kind of messed up. Now that's what I'm talking about right there. You can kind of see the little nipples all messed up and everything, and it's supposed to be like that. So it's not like that on this side right here, but that's all right. I mean, I'll figure that out. Hopefully I can figure that out soon. And then we have the instructions here, which I'll give you guys a closer look at this. So this is the original instructions that go with this, which is really cool. Now, overall, looking at this, I checked everything. The landing gears are definitely original. And then this also works here, so that's really cool. In and out, in and out. That's really neat. And you can also move these in the back, so these also work. They just kind of go side to side. But yeah, this is original, and the stickers are on here. But I'll give you guys a closer look at this skiff right here. I cannot believe I won this off of eBay, and it was my first auction ever, and I actually won this thing. So that's pretty cool to have a little backstory to this thing if somebody asked me about it. And like I said, these are original down here, and I tried to see they would go back in and out, but they're not really working with the lever, so I don't know what the issue is with that, but they're there, so pretty excited about that. So let's get a closer look at this skiff. Now, because I'm not playing with this, and it's only for display, and I'm a collector, I was able to get the railing to stay, and that's only if you're not touching it and playing with it and messing around with it. So I do have the railing there, so it does look pretty cool with both of them on there. Now, like I said, the other one, that is the Power of the Force 2, that came out in the 90s, there's a lot more weathering right there on the front of that one. And the same thing goes with these fins back here. The original fin is just like a plain, it's just the basic color of it, but the other ones have that discolored look and like the weathering on there, so that's pretty cool. Now, looking at this one right here, the original one, I am really happy with what I got, and I really love it, and I love the way this thing looks, and it is pretty much completed loose, without the box. And I do have the instructions with it, so that is definitely a bonus. And I'm going to show you guys that this is the one that was made in Mexico, and it was produced in 1984. Now, I've never held one of these before, and I've actually never held the one from the 90s in my hand before. I used to own the, the very new Legacy Vintage one or whatever it is. It's a lot longer than this and more details and all that. Well, that one's pretty heavy. This one is extremely light. So that is one thing I have noticed about this item here. It's super, super light. But if you look right here, that's where it says 1984 Kenner, and it was made in Mexico. So this is definitely legit, and I definitely won this. So I cannot believe it, because sometimes there's scams going on eBay. So I didn't know if this was just going to be some scam or something, but it was legit, and I actually won this. So that is really cool, man. And I'm in love with this. I'm going to cherish it, and I'm going to display it really cool with my vintage Star Wars action figures and the Jabba the Hutt Palace set that I got going on inside. So yeah, let's take a look at the instructions, and let's go display this thing. So here are the instructions here. And this is not a reprint. This is definitely original. The way the paper feels and the way it looks in person, you can definitely tell. A lot of those reproduction ones, they're just too fresh, and the feeling of the paper does not feel the same. But it's really interesting to have this, because, it helps you to know what is what with the item, and also it's just cool to have because this is original. And a lot of these don't survive, and the ones that do, well, a lot of those guys have the skiff with the instructions, but also with the box. Now, there is somebody on eBay that has a reproduction box for this vehicle here, and It's not the original box. Like I said, it's reproduction, but it's $40. I have thought about getting it until I can come across an original box. Original box can go for $400 to $500 just for the box. So it's $40 for the reproduction, maybe just for display and just for a little standby thing for now. I could go ahead and get that. But yeah, these are the instructions. It's really cool. So let's go display this thing, and I get to cherish this thing for as long as I can. Now, I ended up placing the figures like it is on the instructions there behind them. I ended up copying the same image off of that for right now. I thought that was pretty funny. And I also have it sitting on this acrylic case for right now because those legs are very fragile and I don't want to have it displayed with the legs out right now. I don't want the landing gears out for the time being. Now, a while back, for some reason, I thought this was the early bird stand, and this is not the early bird stand. So the next thing on my list to find is the early bird stand, and this was just a mail away stand, I believe, that Kenner did. So I got that wrong, and I did make that mistake in one of my old videos. But I did some research, and now I know what the early bird stand really is, and hopefully I can find that out in California. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and may the force be with you.